So today, as I'm recording this video right now, $1 to naira is about 1,800 naira. And if you're watching this from like the US or wherever, then you probably don't understand. It doesn't mean much to you, but in simple English, Nigeria is falling apart. Like the currency is getting useless every day, and things are getting more and more expensive, and it's even starting to become discouraging that I don't even necessarily want to like hear. I don't want to hear it again because every day is like you just keep hearing bad news. Like it has gotten worse. Oh, things have gone up again. Like the news is just not encouraging. That I just started to not want to listen anymore. But one thing that like something or one thing I noticed, like, so my friend there, I think back in 2021 or so, a while ago, sure, he bought I think it was Ethereum cryptocurrency. But as just in simple English, as everything is basically falling apart, his own like investment stuff was going up. So even though like he's basically a cost for everybody in the sense that everybody is suffering, things are expensive as fuck, it's hard to live every single day. But yeah, there's still a group of people that are basically enjoying. And I was just thinking about it that maybe if you are God, for example, and people are praying that, oh, let this thing go down. But the other set of people are praying like, let this thing go up. Like, who are you actually going to listen to? But it's brought up the ideology in my head of the half full, half empty glass. So basically, the analogy is like, let's assume this is a glass cup, and this glass cup is half. I think this one is more than half. But let's assume this thing is half, and is like it's at half. So you could either see this thing that this bottle or this glass cup is half empty. That means like it's not full. Or you could see it that it's half full. So it just depends on the way you look at things. At least in my opinion. I just feel like for this, like basically like everything is basically falling apart. Everything is getting expensive day by day. Dollar, blah blah blah. I could see this in the negative light, like the country is worse. I want to run away. Like I just don't want to live anymore. But also see it in the positive light, like what if this is actually a good thing? What if this is actually a blessing in disguise? What if instead of complaining, what if instead of seeing this as a negative thing, I try to see it as a positive in the sense that okay, maybe what if I just learn how to earn in dollars? What if I start making money? Because if I'm making money in dollars, whichever money I'm going to make is literally going to be like 10x the amount is meant to be. So I just think it's like this, just a little mindset, or just something that I just thought about. Like, what if it's actually a blessing, not a curse? Like, what if we just won't look at like situations in general? Because if you think about it, many times situations are just neutral. It's how we choose to look at it that kind of gives it color. And there was this thing I heard, which I feel like is like a really good analogy, where like in terms of like fiction and movies and everything, the heroes and villains, basically the same thing happens to them. The only difference is just that they choose to use the pain differently. Because if you think about like like a super villain, for example, the world hurt him, he lost his parents when he was young, something terrible happened to him, then he became angry, and he's going to hurt the world, he's going to destroy the world, blah blah blah, and he basically becomes a super villain. While the superhero, on the other hand, the same thing happens to him, like something terrible happens to him. I think Batman, I don't watch movies, so I don't really know. But I think Batman, when he was younger, his parents died, something like that. Terrible story. But you could either see this as like a curse, like, oh, the world is not fair, my parents died, blah blah blah. I could just see it as a blessing in the sense that I'm going to do my best so that this thing doesn't happen to anybody again. So I feel like that's how we should just look at situations. What if instead of looking at negative situations as negative, we actually see them in a positive light? Like, if something terrible is happening to you, let's assume somebody like got cancer, for example. Let's assume someone gets cancer. You could see it in a negative light in the sense that I have cancer, terrible disease, I'm going to die, this world is not fair, blah blah blah. But you could also see it in a positive light in the sense that, like, at least like the last few days or the last few weeks or the last few months are now going to be a lot more meaningful because like it's limited now. It's like a lot more limited than before. Or that person could like literally maybe spend those last few days or weeks trying to spread love as much as possible. I'm not trying to say getting cancer is a good thing by any means. The point I'm just trying to make is like, I just feel like we should put on a more optimistic lens rather than a more pessimistic lens, because by default we human beings were just used to being like pessimistic, negative, and stuff. Well, hopefully things get better, or things don't really get better. It's just how you perceive them to be. So hopefully your thinking or your mindset gets better. So yeah, just a little video.